What'd you do? Screw up like the Beatles and say you were bigger than Jesus?
All the time. It was the title of our second album.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 biggest scandals in rock music history.
Did you know immediately, not having bitten into...
Well, I've eaten some pretty rough chicken on the road, you know. But...
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable controversies in the history of the genre. What's your favorite rock and roll moment in history? Let us know in the comments.
If you like what you're hearing, be sure to check out the full song at the link below.
Number 10. Elvis's hips don't lie. It's hard to imagine how much the view of rock and roll has changed since the 1950s.
Now, this newspaper says they want to ban teenagers from dancing in public.
One of the biggest challenges to the perception of rock music was that of Elvis Presley. Known at the time as the king of rock and roll, Elvis commanded the attention of millions of fans. Yet even Presley himself was not free of controversy. Surprisingly, shaking his hips on the Milton Berle show was enough to cause a stir amongst critics and parents of young children who watched it. His dance moves seem utterly tame compared to the likes of most televised music performances today. But it was clearly far too racy for some viewers back then.
What's that?
Man, I don't believe this. They're calling me Elvis the Pelvis.
Number 9. The Beatles are bigger than Jesus. During the 1960s, the Beatles dominated the charts and the attention span of virtually everyone across the globe. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. While they were at the height of their popularity, John Lennon made a comment about how Christianity had begun to wane. He also deemed that people might know more about the band than they did about Jesus Christ. When the story was printed, his quote was consistently recontextualized.
A furor is developing over comments John Lennon made. Quote, Christianity will go. It will vanish and shrink. We're more popular than Jesus. Unquote.
It triggered a massive backlash that included protests and boycotts of the music on radio.
Does it worry you that it's going to boil up when you get to the States?
Well, it worries me, yes, but I hope everything will be all right in the end of the day.
Some angry people destroyed copies of the band's work. After much ado over the misunderstanding, Lennon later apologized and clarified his position.
No, but I'm not saying that we're better or greater or comparing us with Jesus Christ as a person or God as a thing or whatever it is. You know, I just said what I said and it was wrong or was taken wrong, and now it's all this.
Number 8. Jerry Lee Lewis marries close to home. While Jerry Lee Lewis may have been a famed musician, he certainly drew the ire of others. His marriage to Myra Gale Brown in 1958 was particularly controversial. Not only was she his first cousin once removed, but she was much younger than him. Initially, the explicit details of their union were relatively unknown to the fan base. But after arriving in London, England for a tour, a reporter learned many details about the musician's life.
You think your expulsion from England is a repudiation of rock and roll?
They canceled Jerry Lee's tour because of our marriage, not because of his music.
The controversy around the discovery led to his tour being cut short and sent his rock music career into a spiral. Despite that, the two did remain married and had 2 children before divorcing due to tons of issues in 1970.
Back home, they take a different view of this sort of a thing. I expect a great reception when I get back there. My fans will understand.
Number 7. Ozzy's Bat Bite. The story of Ozzy's famous encounter with the bat is one of the most infamous musical tales of all time.
But I can assure you the rabies shots that I went through afterwards aren't fun.
After the musician came up with a gag where he threw raw meat at his audiences, they responded by throwing all kinds of things at him on stage. One fan at a show in Des Moines, Iowa, threw what Ozzy thought was a rubber bat on stage. When the musician picked it up, he bit the head clean off.
You can do it, Ozzy! Bite his freaking head off!
Since it was very real, word of the story spread and he forever became tied to the incident. But this bad bat bite didn't stop Ozzy from stirring up more trouble.
Oh my God! Ozzy Osbourne bit Kenny's head off! You bastard!
A month later, he got arrested for treating an important landmark near the Alamo like a toilet.
No, honestly, what do you think's the worst that could happen?
Get shot, killed, beaten up.
Number 6. Sinead O'Connor on Saturday Night Live. Sinead O'Connor pulled off an incredibly scandalous bait and switch during an SNL appearance.
You have no time to love me anymore.
During rehearsals for her musical performance, producers didn't mind that she displayed a photo of a starving child at the end of her set. But after completing her time on the live show, O'Connor instead showed a photo of the Pope. She subsequently tore it to pieces while saying an unforgettable phrase.
We have confidence in the victory of good over evil.
Both audiences and producers were left stunned at her actions. Although O'Connor intended to bring attention to issues in the Catholic Church, her message got lost in the storm of controversy that followed.
If that was all I ever did on planet Earth, that's what I'd be happy.
Number 5. Chuck Berry's invasive cameras.
You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
Although sci-fi heroes like Marty McFly have paid homage to Chuck Berry, the musician had a much darker side to him. While authorities were raiding his house in 1990, they found a collection of questionable adult videos. An investigation revealed that Berry had hidden video cameras in the women's restroom of the Southern Air restaurant he owned. To make matters worse, there was evidence that they had been edited afterwards by the musician. As a result, he was the subject of a class action lawsuit filed by many of the women he had taped without their permission. Number 4. Woodstock 99 gets dangerous. During Woodstock 99, Limp Bizkit performed the song Break Stuff. Soon after, a wave of violence erupted among the fans. Unfortunately, Limp Bizkit wasn't the only act that ran into a major issue. During the Red Hot Chili Peppers set, candles meant for a vigil were instead used to set huge fires. Blazes got so out of control that one of the audio pillars caught fire.
As you can see, if you look behind you, we have a bit of a problem.
Both incidents would have been enough to make this event infamous. However, the tragic reports of multiple assaults and a fan's passing made this edition of Woodstock into a sobering memory.
I just remember thinking, like, this didn't happen. And somebody's got to go call his mom.
Number 3. Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's video. The famous rock and roll couple was constantly scrutinized and analyzed by the public while they were in the spotlight.
That was not a sex tape. It was a compilation of, vacations that we were naked on.
So when a tape that depicted intimate activities between the two was acquired by an adult film company, many heads were turned. Initially, the couple sued Internet Entertainment Group about the tape, but they eventually entered into an agreement where they settled for an undisclosed amount so that the home video could be seen by customers online. While they weren't the only or last celebrities to have a leaked tape, many couldn't speak of this rock and roll couple without thinking of their intimate video.
It's like we're seeing something we're not supposed to be seeing.
Number 2. Sid Vicious accused of taking a life. While Simon John Ritchie, aka Sid Vicious, was pushing for punk rock to be more popular, his personal issues constantly affected his public perception. Many people believed Sid Vicious had gone over the edge of no return when his girlfriend Nancy Spungen was found deceased in their hotel room. Authorities were quick to charge the musician for the crime, but before he could stand trial, he died after taking too many substances. The tragic losses of both Spungen and Sid Vicious left the public with many questions about a shocking crime that may never be answered.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The death of Lana Clarkson. There was once a time where Phil Spector was mostly known for being a trailblazer in the music industry.
I invented the music business. Where's a statue of me? Where's a presidential medal?
His tricks and tips were instrumental in many careers. However, Spector's triumphs were soon overshadowed by a grim crime. In 2003, an actress named Lana Clarkson was shot and died in the musician's home. Although Spector initially claimed she had taken her own life, he was found guilty of taking her life in subsequent trials. It was also revealed that the musician pointed a gun at other women. In the wake of these dark revelations, Spector was sentenced to 19 years in prison. He later passed away while serving his sentence. It's now impossible to talk about Spector's career without mentioning the Lorna Clarkson tragedy.
His legacy will forever be that of a convicted murderer who happened to write songs.
Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you're a fan of the song playing right now, be sure to check out the music video for it right here.
Lay my hand on a long